Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jake Ashey with Eventful Endeavors, Wisconsin. And I am pleased to introduce my guest over here to my right. This is a certified wedding planner, not only in the Madison area, but Milwaukee, Chicago, Iowa, all over the place. This gentleman right here is a master's in education from UW, bachelor's of music from Viterbo, and 3 years consecutively has won the Knott's Best of Weddings and Wedding Wire's Couple Choice Awards. It's Rob Anderson with OSO in Love, everybody. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Jake. I'm great. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And in post-production, we'll edit in some thunderous applause, people chanting Rob, hopefully. That'll be
Yay.
great. So you're joining us now. You live outside Madison, but you're joining us from somewhere else, I take it.
That is correct. Yeah. Since starting my business, I have had the opportunity to be able to spend my summers in the Wisconsin area. That's when I am doing the boots on the ground and execution work within the wedding industry. And then
Yeah.
generally about October, November, I pack up and head south to sunny Puerto Vallarta, where I spend the winter working on preparations for the upcoming wedding season, meeting
I
with
love it.
couples and putting all the preparations in for a smooth and seamless season.
That is fantastic. So you're in Puerto Vallarta right now.
I am. It's a beautiful 81 degrees. The sun is out, not a cloud in the sky. And we're actually not meeting in my office because my office, when I'm working here in Puerto Vallarta, is generally this little coffee shop called Dee's Coffee and Bakery
Oh,
down
sounds
by the
nice.
pier. So I have a beautiful
Oh,
view of the Puerto Vallarta Los Muertos Pier. Lots
let's
of fun
go.
people watching when I feel like I need a little bit of a break from work on the computer, and it's wonderful. I absolutely love it.
Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Rob has it all figured out, especially making the job work living in these northern states. It's all about migration. I love it. You're inspiring me. I'm going to be looking at that as
That's
well. That's
true. I
awesome.
say that I'm practicing for retirement. So
I like. Hey, that's good. That's good. Everything needs a little bit of practice. I think that's a good policy.
right.
Wonderful. I would love to hear about this company that you are running here called OSO in Love. So to start out, can you describe for those of you who aren't seeing it, OSO in Love is spelled very specifically. It's OSO in Love.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear how you came by that name.
Yeah. So the name of my business is OSO in Love Wedding and Event Curators. It's a long business name, but
Sure.
generally
Okay.
it's shortened to OSO in Love. And the word oso comes from Spanish and it means bear. So I am affectionately known by friends and family members, and even some of my couples that I build a strong and deep connection with as Papa Bear. So when
I
I
love it.
was starting this business, I was looking for a catchy title. I wanted something that was meaningful and had a connection to me personally so that it would stand out in the crowd against all of these other wedding planner and design businesses. And I was driving in the car one day and it just sort of popped into my head. I was like, I'm oh so in love. And
Yeah.
I thought about the fact that OSO, the word for bear, is spelled OSO. So why don't we do a play on words? And that's the name of the business. And it ties directly with my branding and my logo. So if you go to my website, you'll see our logo, which is comprised of two bears. They are not gendered. There is no
Yep.
gender identity, and they both look very much the same. That's because I strongly believe that love is love, and I am
Yes.
excited and willing to work with any couple, whether it be bride and groom, bride and bride, or groom and groom, whether it
Yep.
be couples that are a part of the um, people of color community, non-binary, trans, and all other types of folks that bring a sense of diversity and individuality to the workspace. So that is
Yes.
how OSO in Love came about.
Let's
We are
go.
a one-stop shop sort of
Mhm.
wedding services business where I personally offer wedding design, wedding
Mm.
planning, wedding coordination, officiant services, and then also as a side auxiliary business, music, DJ, and entertainment services with a side business that I have as well called Papa Bear Productions, and that is
Wow.
music, DJ, and entertainment. And then in addition, I am set up to provide linen services to my clients, as well as some of the venues around the Madison area. I have established connections and relationships with venues like the Eloise and Mount Horeb,
Yes.
where I
Love that.
provide them with linens and make it a little bit easier for them and their couples, as well as I have developed sort of an arsenal or itinerary of decor rental items. So my
Nice.
couples that work with me, instead of having to go out and buy, 150 charger plates that they'll never use again, I have assembled some options and continue to grow that inventory to make it a very like smooth and easy process for my the couples that I work with.
That is fantastic. That is many hats. You truly are the one-stop shop. So planning,
Definitely.
coordination, some DJ entertainment if you want it, some rentals. Now, do
Yeah.
what proportion of your clients do you say opt for the whole shebang for using all the services, or do you also do a lot of just the coordination
Yeah.
planning?
So I would say the bulk of my work comes from couples who are looking for like wedding planning and coordination services.
Hmm.
So when I say planning, that would mean either partial planning or full service planning, where I am, seeking out and vetting the vendors and partners that will work with me to execute the day and bring it to life.
Yep.
In addition to, some clients will work with me on a design and branding for their wedding so that everything is
Oh.
cohesive. I
Mm,
will ask
yeah.
my clients for a link to their Pinterest board, and their Pinterest board has all of these different ideas that they've just seen, like, oh, I really like that, or oh, that looks good. But they don't know how to take all of those images and put them together and edit them into a cohesive uh, concept that works together harmoniously from the moment that their guests
Mm,
get the invitation or save the date in the mail, all the way
yep.
through the process to the end of the night when the last song is played, and the guests make their way back home. So I
Absolutely.
have a background in theater and music. I've been a creative person all my life. And so it's those types of services that are really my wheelhouse. I love doing the full scale Papa Bear package, which is full scale design, planning, coordination, um, because it keeps me busy, gives me the opportunity to take a break from some of the more administrative doldrum things
Hmm.
that you have to do in any job. And I look at that as being my reward for plowing
Love that.
through and getting through the administrative stuff. And it's worked
Love
really
that.
well so far.
Very cool. Very fascinating journey. Love that. And I got to know from one theater kid to another. So first, I love to hear
Yeah.
you. It was Viterbo that you were originally studied music and it was a vocal performance?
Yeah, actually, it's the name of the university is pronounced
Ah,
Viterbo. It
Viterbo.
originates from a small city in Italy There is a city named Viterbo,
Okay.
and the institution is located in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It was
Hmm.
founded by the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration back in the like late 1800s, I believe. And they started it as a normal school for the nuns and the novice sisters that were coming into the convent to try to teach them
Wow.
skills and go out in the community to basically, sort of
Yeah.
go back
Yes.
into the community and share the values and the mission of St. Francis of Assisi.
Oh, I
And
love that.
St. Francis, as well as the sisters' patron saint, St. Rose, sort of lived their lives around that area of Viterbo. So when they gave a name to the institution, they chose Viterbo. And the
That's
school
great.
has been known for years as a very strong uh, institution for education. So they train a lot of teachers. They also train a lot of nurses. But these sisters were also really innovative and had a love of the arts and the performing arts. So back in the
Mm.
70s, they like took a leap of faith and built this beautiful fine arts center and started the School of Fine Arts with training in music theater, opera and classical voice, theater arts as performers, and then also technical work as well. So I loved my
Fantastic.
time there, absolutely loved it. I studied voice for the 4 years that I was there, but I've been singing since I was about 18 months old. And
Wow.
music
Okay.
has always been a huge part of my life. And it's, my love of music that oftentimes I think gets me through my workday because listening to music helps inspire me. It also helps
Mm,
motivate me. So if I
mm.
can, if I'm feeling a little down or feel like I'm dragging and not getting as much done as I would like to, just put on the right playlist and it's like I'm
Yeah.
smooth sailing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, that's some incredible promo for Viterbo University. Sounds like a magical place. I was going to ask one musical theater kid to
Yeah.
another, and now I am a dueling pianist. Um,
Yeah.
we got to know what your go-to musical requests are for either a piano show or karaoke. What's the go-to, Rob?
Yeah. So if I am if it's me that's performing, my
Yes.
songs tend to gravitate towards the higher register, like into the
Hmm.
stratosphere. So
Let's go. Okay.
I am a first tenor, have a pretty
Ooh.
high singing voice. And so I am doing things like Journey, Styx, and
Nice.
I also do a lot of like female R&B, so like Aretha Franklin, Tina Turner, and to see the looks on people's faces when I go into a random bar, this really sort of, I don't know, this
Yeah.
fluffy bearish guy with a beard and a bald head get up and sing, a rousing hit like Proud Mary, in the same
Nice.
key as Tina Turner and bring the house down. It's very easy to make friends in
I love
situations
it.
like that. So
I
it's
love it. What
it's
a
very
what a great
helpful.
repertoire. Sounds like you got your go-tos all figured out. Do you have, and I haven't commented on the wardrobe yet, but that's incredible branding as well for Papa Bear Mode. The wonderful bear shirt. Do you have
Yeah.
how extensive is the wardrobe of bear themed things?
Not very extensive. This is really one of the only bear shirts that I have, and I wore it today because of why not
I love
branding,
it.
right?
Yes. I
Uh,
love it. I love it.
and the brand is like really strong. The
That's
visuals and
wonderful.
everything. I do a lot of wedding expos and wedding shows, and I will oftentimes get, you know, lots of positive feedback from couples that are walking by my booth. They see the logo and they see, the visual
Mm-hmm.
materials and they're immediately drawn to it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that I chose those images, those two bears, hand in
Hmm.
hand, because I think that with my training and background, I bring a very unique sort of experience to the industry.
Yeah.
I spent close to 25 years working in higher education, and
Yeah.
the very first school that I worked at in higher education was actually my alma mater of Viterbo.
Oh,
So I
wonderful.
had a training in student affairs and student development administration. I graduated from the institution and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life because, most people that get a voice degree,
Mhm.
it's basically like a bachelor's in waiting tables, right? It's a
Yes.
very small percentage that make it onto the stage, no matter how good you are sometimes. And
Hmm.
took a step back at the end of like towards the end of my program and did some assessment and thought to myself, is this really how I want to make my money? Do I want to take something that is so endearing to me and so important and turn it into um, an income generating situation?
Yeah.
Uh, I decided no. I'm like, I want to save that for the times when I need, that love of mine to kind of
Hmm.
get me through some rough times and to sort of feed my soul, so to speak. Um,
Mm. Mm.
but
Yes.
I had an opportunity when I was in college to become an RA. I was a
Mhm.
resident assistant for 2 years and had been given an idea of, why don't you look at doing something in higher ed at the entry level, and maybe going on to grad school and doing, something else in music, like musicology, music history, stuff like that. And I didn't end up going down that path, but a couple years after graduating, I got an offer to come and work at Viterbo. Within a semester, I knew that I had found, my thing, so to speak, and decided to pursue my master's degree in higher education administration, focusing on college student development. And
Yeah.
so in that field, you're being trained in a lot of different student services areas, including counseling. And I learned a ton during my time in the program about being a good active listener and
Mm.
really
Mhm.
uh, focusing on the person that I am interacting with and trying to better understand who they are, what they're trying to say, and what their situation is. And so when I'm meeting with my clients,
Mhm.
it's not just a business transaction for me. It is really,
Mm.
like a mini counseling session, trying to like
Mm.
pick their brain and figure out, what is it about this process of planning a wedding that has them so anxious and frustrated? And what can I do to step in and help alleviate those feelings of anxiety and frustration and try to,
I love that.
work towards a more stress-free sort of experience. Um,
Yeah.
so
That is
those
beautiful.
skills that I learned in higher ed, as well as event planning skills, because
Sure. Yeah.
ultimately later on in my career, I started working in positions where there was an expectation to plan events on the campus level, at
Mhm.
community events through my philanthropic engagement, as well as like state and regional and national events. And that was something like it reignited a spark in me, that I was doing something that had a creative element to it. And I
Yes.
also
Mm.
happen to be someone who likes to plan things out and have
Sure.
some details like down on paper. So it just sort of like felt like a really, really good fit for me when I was looking to get out of the
Mm.
the business world and
Yeah.
try to
Mhm.
find a way for me to start my own business and work for myself. So the idea of coming into wedding planning was kind of a crapshoot. I just was like, what can I do? And
Yeah.
just threw some
Wow.
ideas down on paper.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really quick decision that I had to make because there were deadlines in
Sure.
place. And so Also in Love really came to be in like 48 hours. It
Oh my
was like
goodness.
either make it happen or figure out another plan because
Yeah.
deadlines were in place, and if I wanted to be in certain be on certain advertising uh sites and things like that, I had to make a decision within 48 hours. And I'm so glad that I made the decision that I did to move forward and take a leap of faith. um
Brilliant. Us too.
because it's been rewarding for me. I've had so many, wonderful opportunities. And so, a message to your listeners: sometimes the impossible
Mm,
can actually be possible if you just really
yes.
take a leap of faith and have faith in yourself. It may seem like it's, unreachable, but um, with a little work and perseverance, you can make it happen.
Beautiful. Hear that, listeners? That's some beautiful philosophy from OSO in Love, and that absolutely comes across. I mean, such a fun, incredible story. Thank you for sharing. So fun to
Yeah.
see from higher ed into planning and coordination. Um, I haven't met too many people, and it makes perfect sense. And the way that your brand has come together, with this vision of taking people's Pinterest items and visions and being able to implement them through all of your deep connections and networking and experience. What a beautiful way to apply that. And if I can just say, it comes across in the brand, just exudes this warmth and inclusion and celebration and love. Total Papa Bear vibes. So absolutely love what you put together here. I wanted to tie that in. You may have already addressed it a little bit, but you mentioned also in some of your promos, empathy is a word that keeps coming back up. And I love to hear what you
Yeah.
think, why you think empathy is a really important core value as a wedding professional, kind of across the board.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel so strongly connected to the concept of empathy and the practice of being empathetic
Mm,
that I even wrote it into my philosophy.
mm,
When you work with OSO in Love, you can expect the feeling to be like that of like putting on your favorite big comfy sweater or sweatshirt. It's like one of those things where it's safe, it's comfortable, it makes you feel
mm,
good. And so I throw around words or descriptors like nurturing, caring, um, and empathetic, because that's really, those are the core values and the core philosophies that we have with OSO in Love.
beautiful.
We uh both myself and my assistant Jenny, who is trained by me, she knows exactly what I want the experience for my couple's guests to be like. She knows
Mhm,
how I like to interact and work with the couples as my clients. Um, we truly are always thinking first and foremost about the couples and how our actions will affect them, whether it be positively or negatively. And we never want
mm,
to make a decision where what we're choosing to do is going to have a negative impact on our couples or
mhm,
their special guests. So we're oftentimes asking the question of ourselves, like, what would it be like if I were in their situation? What would it be like
mm,
if I was the one that was working with OSO in Love? How would I want to be
mm,
treated? And what would I want my experience to be like working with a wedding planner? And if you just take a moment and you think about that, as well as incorporate some, key elements of uh, being an empath, which is actively listening to your clients, not just hearing them, but actually
yep.
listening to what they're saying. And as they're saying it, make good eye contact with them, be attentive, and practice body language that's open and welcoming, as opposed to sitting there with your legs crossed and your arms crossed, right?
Hmm.
That shows that you've put up a wall or a barrier, and you're not really open to feedback or hearing what they have to say.
Absolutely.
When you actively listen, you also are, making sure and clarifying that you understand what the other person is telling you. So if I
Mhm.
have a client that says, you know, I I really don't like a lot of flowers, or I don't want things to be too gaudy. My response to that would be, so what I hear you saying is that, maybe flowers aren't a priority to you, and you're looking for something that's maybe a little bit more minimalistic. If I ask
Yeah.
them that, then I'm going to get clarity instead of me assuming, like making an assumption of my own based on what the other person has told me. And
Yeah.
so we want that experience for our couples and clients to be a positive one from start to finish. And when we're working the day of the event, coordinating everything, there are things that we do that probably some other wedding coordinators wouldn't or don't do. But
Hmm.
I feel that it's important, if the couple is entrusting me with the overall success or failure of their day, I want to do everything that I can in my power to assure that their guests are going to have a positive experience, that they're going to walk away saying, wow, that was a really great night. I had such a good time. So when the day is sort of up and running, we've got them down the aisle, they're married, and now it's time for the celebration to begin. I sort of
Yeah.
switch hats from being a wedding planner or coordinator to being a hospitality ambassador. And what I mean by
Mm.
that
Mm.
is looking for ways that I can enhance or improve the experience of my clients' guests,
Mm.
whether it be things like, a big pet peeve of mine, Jake, is like, if I'm at an event, I absolutely hate having a cluttered table full of dead glasses and cans and bottles.
Oh.
It makes me
Hmm.
nervous, and it kind of makes you a little stressed out. And so, like,
Sure.
I will go from table to table, make sure that, any glasses that are finished or dead, that they're being cleared away. It's a way that I can help improve the
Love that.
experience of my partners working behind the bar and providing those drinks, because they don't have time to come out from the bar
True.
to bus
Yeah.
all those tables. It makes the guests have a more positive experience because they have a more clean and tidy space to sort of plant themselves. And it shows that, we're a team player as well. So
Amazing.
it's
Yeah, that's not included
ultimately,
on your typical wedding coordinator duties. Anybody listening is the clearing of the tables. That's the OSO in love above and beyond right there.
yeah. And the thing that I love about it is that it gives me an excuse to sort of interject and communicate or interact with
Mm.
the couple's guests. I
Hmm.
wear a branded name tag any day that I am working an event, and it puts them at ease. It shows them that there's someone out there that's looking out for them. And also, if they have any sort of question or concern, or they need something, they know that I'm the go-to person and can help with that.
Yep.
And it's just a lot of fun because, at the event later in the evening, someone who was sitting at a table where I might have come up and cleared some empty glasses and bottles away, they see my name tag, and then, later in the night they see me at the bar when I'm going to get myself a Diet Coke, which is what gets me through these long wedding days. Like, that is my
There we
my
are. Yeah.
go-go juice, so to
Gotta have
speak.
fuel.
And they'll be like,
Yep.
"Hey,
Hmm.
Rob, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Wait, how do you know my name?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I've got my
Yeah.
name tag on here."
Yeah.
So
One of the clues.
making those connections with people and personal connections is really important. And
Absolutely.
so I think that's one of the things that really sets Oh So in Love apart. And I do everything in my power to assure that that is the norm and not just the exception, um, in every event that we're working.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing. If I can reiterate for our listeners, for those vendors and professionals who are listening, starting with that active listening and just putting yourself in the client's shoes, huge, impactful part of OSO in Love mission statement. And if you are a potential bride or groom listening to this podcast, if you want your planning process to feel like a comfortable, your most favorite sweatshirt, then wearing it the whole time, OSO in Love has it written into their mission statement. So sweatshirt vibes. Rob, thank you so much for taking the time here on the podcast. I got just one more to close this out. Would just love to hear if you were talking to somebody who's listening, who's just now starting, maybe just got engaged, starting the journey. If you could give them a piece of advice heading into the wedding planning journey, what would you give them?
Yeah, absolutely. My piece of advice to a newly engaged couple would be, one, no matter what your budget is, find room in the budget for a minimum of a day of coordinator. It will be the best gift you can ever give yourself and give your parents especially, because so often we see that at the end of the night, who's doing all the cleanup if you don't have a day of coordinator? It's like the mom and dad of the bride and groom. And no one should have to feel like they need to be cleaning up all of that stuff after a long day of socializing and playing host to, the wedding guests. The other thing is, I would say that even if your budget is tight, if you contact OSO in Love and seek out services, I am 100% sure that I can probably find ways in your budget for cost savings that will cover at least a majority, if not all, of the fees that you would pay for our services. So, we offer a variety of types of packages, from just day of coordination, which is going to be your entry level package, all the way up to design and branding and full scale planning. But a day of coordinator at a minimum is really the best money that you can spend on your wedding, because it's going to allow you to really take the focus off of all the logistical details that are going to be required of someone for that day off of your shoulders as a couple, and puts it on someone who does this professionally on a weekly basis, pretty much. They have lots and lots of tips and tricks and connections that can help you out in the process and give you a sense of direction. I can't tell you how many couples have come to me after trying to do it on their own, and they get to this point and it feels like they're in over their head. And so I always give kudos to those couples that recognize that, some things you can't always do all on your own. And having the forethought to come and ask for assistance and advice is a good thing.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, don't be one of those couples who comes to Rob, later in the process after having tried and exhausted themselves. Be one of those who does it early and gets to do the comfy sweatshirt vibes for the entire journey. Yeah, awesome. Hey, Rob, thank you so much for joining us for on the podcast. I want to appreciate your time. I want to get you back to sunny Puerto Vallarta.
Sure. Thanks so much, Jake. It's been a pleasure. And to anyone listening out there, make sure you take advantage of the promotional offer for our podcast listeners. That should be included in all the materials. I want to save you some money,
That's right,
if possible. So be sure to take advantage of that and check it out.
That's right. Awesome. All right. Rob Anderson with OSO in Love. Thank you so much, everybody. And this has been Eventful Endeavors. Take care, Rob.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.